Sennheiser very recently released the new HD490 Pro Plus headphones, and I asked my channel members if there's any interest in me talking about how well this works for spatial and binaural audio. And the overwhelming majority said yes, there is. So here we go. A video about the Sennheiser HD490 Pro Plus from the perspective of somebody who works with spatial and binaural audio. Now, this is not going to be a full review because I'm not a headphone reviewer. There are people out there who do a much better job in reviewing headphones than I do. I'm going to leave a couple of links to those reviews in the description below. What I want to do here is I want to focus on the usability of those headphones in the spatial and binaural audio environment. This particularly because the Sennheiser HD490 Pro Plus come with a Mixroom plugin from DearVR, the DearVR Mix Sennheiser edition. So they are to some extent positioned as an alternative to maybe even the Slate VSX headphones. But I still want to talk a little bit about the general features of those headphones because there are a couple of things that these headphones have that I have not seen anywhere else. So these are actually quite unique in many ways. First of all, the HD490 Pro Plus are considered to be an iteration on the famous 600 series headphones from Sennheiser. Now, I've myself never owned a 600 series headphone, so I can't talk too much about the comparison between those. However, a couple of people have pointed out that the sound characteristics are fairly similar, so this really is a progression on the 600 series headphones. One unique feature is that the Sennheiser HD490 Pro Plus come with two sets of ear pads. One is this velour kind of set of ear pads, and then there's a second set that is kind of a cloth really. And they're meant for different applications. So the velour ear pads are meant for producing and the other ear pads are meant for mixing. They have slightly different sound characteristics. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Now, having two sets of ear pads is not particularly unique. However, what is unique is that these are washable. So you can actually apparently throw them into the washing machine. And I haven't seen that before. That's actually a nice feature because essentially sometimes you just want to get them clean. There's one additional unique feature that they advertise, and that is that these ear pads have a groove in them, which makes them particularly comfortable for people wearing glasses. Now, I personally have not really seen much of an advantage from that groove. There is a groove in there. I can feel it. I'm just not sure if it does anything. Many of my other headphones feel exactly as comfortable as those. So your mileage may vary. There might be some advantage of having these grooves if you're wearing glasses, but in my case, I didn't really feel much of a difference. The Plus model also contains a case that a lot of reviewers have really appreciated. However, this case is quite a big boy. So be aware of that. This is not a travel case. This is a storage case. It stores everything that comes with the headphones. So you have the second set of ear pads and the second cable in here. So everything fits in neatly and nicely and snugly. However, it is a big case. So I would not travel around with that. If you want to use them for travel, you probably need to buy an additional case that is a little smaller than that one. And the final thing is that they come with a license to the DearVR Mix plugin. This is a Sennheiser edition, and I'm going to have a look at that plugin a little bit later in this video. But this is also fairly unique. We see that more often, quite frankly, with some of the headphone developers, but it's still kind of uncommon that a headphone developer would actually include a plugin that is used in order to level out the frequency response for mixing and mastering applications. But before I continue, a quick reminder that if you have enjoyed that video so far, please consider subscribing to my channel. And please also don't forget to press the like button. It really helps out the channel by scratching the itch of the YouTube algorithm. And you can now also become a member of this channel, either through the YouTube membership program or through Patreon. I'm going to leave links in the description below. Channel members get additional perks, like for example, access to a private section of our Discord server, early access to my videos, and access to monthly video chats with me, where you can ask me directly any question that you have or any advice that you want to get. For the following, I'm going to compare the HD490s with some headphones in about the same price range. Now, these are all headphones that I own and that are paid for with my own money. But be aware that this is completely subjective. I'm once again not a headphone reviewer. I'm just going to give you my impression, what I like, what I don't like about these headphones. And with that being said, let's have a look at the contenders. Well, first of all, we obviously have the Sennheiser HD490 Pro Plus. Then we have the Neumann NDH30. These are my favorite headphones right now. They have a really pleasant frequency response and they are extremely comfortable to wear. I really like them a lot. Then we have the Biodynamic DT1990 Pro. Those were headphones that I used to use quite a lot, but I don't really use that much anymore. I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later in this video. Then we have the Olo Audio S5X. This is a pair of headphones that I've reviewed before. I'm going to post a link to that video in the description below. They are specifically designed for binaural use, so they are specifically made for people working with spatial audio. And finally, we have the Steven Slate VSX headphones. Now, this is a slightly unfair comparison because the VSX headphones obviously are closed back headphones, whereas all the other ones are open back headphones. But I've decided to include them here for one simple reason, and that is because people have asked me to. The question is if the Sennheiser 490 can be used as an alternative to the VSX system because they also include a Mixroom plugin, and this is primarily the reason why I'm including them here. But in my review, be aware that the comparison is slightly unfair. These are different types of headphones, really. Now, once again, this is a completely subjective review, and in reality, all these headphones are excellent, so you can't really go wrong with either one of them, to be perfectly honest, but there are slight differences, and I thought I'd give you my impression. And I'm going to split up that impression into three areas. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the comfort, because we are going to wear them for quite some time. Then I'm going to talk about the sound quality very, very briefly, because once again, I'm not a headphone reviewer. And then I'm going to talk about the binaural use, or kind of how well they actually perform in a setting where you're working with binaural audio. And finally, I'm going to talk about the plugin that comes with the Sennheiser, and I'm going to compare that to the VSX plugin. And let's see what is better. Can the Sennheiser actually replace the VSX? We will see. So let's first start with comfort. And the way I'm going to do that here is I'm going to rank them according to comfort, my impression of comfort, obviously. And I'm going to start with the least comfortable, or for me, least comfortable headphones, and I'm going to work my way up to the most comfortable headphones. So let's start with place number 5. And for me, the least comfortable headphones of that group are the Olo Audio S5X. And I know this surprises a lot of people because quite a few people think that these are extremely comfortable headphones. And I talked about that in much more detail in my review of the Olo Audio S5X. But the problem that I have with those headphones is that I have a really large head, and these don't really fit me particularly well. The problem with the Olo Audio is that the ear cups don't swivel. They only swivel in one direction, but not in the other one. So if you have an average size head, everything is fine. However, if you have a head that is as large as mine, you essentially have a lot of pressure on your temples. And I recently heard from somebody who has a similar problem, and that is if your head is too small for those headphones, then these headphones will actually press on your cheeks and make them uncomfortable that way. So these headphones are a little bit hit and miss. Quite frankly, you need to test them. And if they fit you, then they're perfect. If they don't fit you, they are really uncomfortable. So let's go to spot number 4. And on 4th place, I have the Slate VSX. Now, once again, unfair because these are rather small headphones. They are closed back headphones. They are not uncomfortable. They're just not as comfortable as some of the other headphones. They fit actually quite well. They're perfectly fine. But once again, if I compare them to the other headphones, these are essentially not as good. Quite frankly, the ear cups are rather small, and essentially, it's kind of, you feel that you have headphones on your head. That's essentially what I have to say. In spot number 3, I am ranking the Biodynamic DT1990 Pro, and the main reason I'm doing that is because the earpads are actually fairly they are not as soft as some of the other earbuds. I kind of, they're okay. They have quite a bit of a clamping force, to be perfectly honest, and they fit well. Not a particular problem. It's just not as comfortable as some of the others. You actually, once again, like similar to the Slate VSX headphones, you actually feel that you have headphones on your head. That's all I can say to that. In spot number 2, I rank the Neumann NDH30. These have so far been my go-to headphones. Super comfortable, very nice earpads. You completely forget that you wear them after a while. The only thing that kind of bothers me a little is that if I move my head too quickly, then essentially they have a tendency to move on my head. That's really the only thing. So they're not clamping as high as some of the other headphones. But once again, really, really comfortable headphones. And that brings me to number one. And I have to say that the Sennheiser, for me at least, are much more comfortable than any of the other headphones that I own right now. First of all, they are really lightweight. They fit my head really well. And they are the earpads are the perfect size for some reason. Essentially, kind of my ears fit perfectly into these earpads, and after a while, you completely forget that you have headphones. It's really remarkable. These are really, really nice. Now, I have to say that there's a slight difference between the different pads. The velour ones that I have here are really, really soft and really, really super comfortable. The other ones are a little less comfortable, but still, I think those are my new favorite headphones, quite frankly. And this brings me now to sound quality. Now, once again, this is completely subjective, and I'm once again going to rank them from my least favorite sound signature to my most favorite sound signature. And I'm going to start off at spot number 5 with the Biodynamic DT 1990 Pro. And the reason for that is simply because they have a really bump, a significant bump in the higher frequencies. Now, a lot of people like that because it gives them a lot more detail, but I am somewhat sensitive to high frequencies. I can't really wear them for a very long time. After about half an hour, I get completely worn out by those headphones. So what I usually do is I keep them as a secondary pair of headphones under my desk. So whenever I need to monitor something and I need to figure out certain details, I use them, but otherwise I never use them for an extended period of time. After that, we have the Slate VSX headphones. Now, once again, unfair comparison because they are closed back. And then most importantly, they're supposed to be used with the plugin. Without the plugin, they don't sound really good at all. But even with the plugin, there is a significant difference between the quality of the sound of these headphones with the other headphones. Now, once again, this doesn't mean that the quality of the simulation of the Mixroom that the Slate VSX system provides is bad. It just means that the sound quality of the headphones as such is not as good as some of the other headphones. They do an excellent job in simulating a mixing environment, but the sound is not as pleasant as with some of the other headphones. And for the remaining 3 headphones, it's pretty much a wash, to be perfectly honest. I personally have ranked them in the following way. I like from the 3 remaining ones, I like the Allo Audio the least, and that is really because the bass response is not as good as the others. But once again, it's almost indistinguishable, so there isn't really a big difference. And second place, I then put the Sennheiser. They have a very, very good bass response, which I really like. However, I still feel that when it comes to sound, the Neumann ND-H30 remain my favorite headphones. They are a little bit more, at least to my ears, a little bit more natural and a little bit more pleasant to listen to, quite frankly. Now, this brings us to the most important part of this review, and this is how well these headphones work with binaural audio or spatial audio in general. And the way I tested this is by creating a couple of projects where I moved sound around in 3-dimensional space, then rendered it in binaural, and then tested how well the headphones would reproduce the location of that particular sound. Now, it has to be said that this is hugely subjective because it depends a lot on your head geometry and how well essentially these headphones together with the binaural renderer fit the essentially your head and your hearing system. But I still think that a couple of things that you can actually identify as objective differences between the way these headphones reproduce 3-dimensional sound, binaural sound, and even though these differences are very, very small, they do exist. And with that being said, let's rank them again. And I'm going to do that once again from my least favorite to my most favorite. And as my least favorite, I have the Slate VSX headphones. Now, this might come as a surprise to many because the Mixroom simulation that you get with the Slate VSX plugin in particular is really, really outstanding. So if you take these headphones and you use the Mixroom plugin, the Slate VSX system, and then you switch to near-field or mid-field monitors, you suddenly get that impression that the speakers are located right in front of you. And you would think that these are actually kind of made for binaural monitoring, but this isn't really the case. Now, the main reason is that, first of all, the Slate VSX system only works for stereo. So that is a little unfortunate. So if you want to really use them for binaural audio, in the sense that you are kind of using spatial audio and you're converting that into binaural and then kind of monitoring that, you actually need to kind of get rid of the plugin and use it without the plugin. And without the plugin, even with a frequency correction, you start to realize that these are actually not really capable of producing depth. So in my the impression that I got is that when I'm moving a sound around my head, in these headphones, it sounds like it's moving from left to right and then kind of back again. There's no depth that I'm getting. But once again, this is completely subjective. So your mileage may vary and you might actually get much, much better sound reproduction in terms of depth. But for me, they didn't do much in terms of depth. The remaining four were fairly similar, and this is not particularly surprising because they are all open back headphones. And to be perfectly honest, the frequency response doesn't do much in terms of depth information. It's really something that is very, very subtle and that you might not even notice unless you're really listening for it. But I nevertheless decided to give it a ranking. And the way I ranked them is that, first of all, I would rank the biodynamic on spot number 4. The depth information is not as pronounced as with some of the other headphones, and on top of everything, I hate the sound signature. So this is really very subjective. This brings us to spot number 3, and on third place, I have the Neumann NDH30. They are good. Once again, almost identical to all of the other open back headphones in this roundup. But they have just a tiny bit less depth information, at least to my ears, than the remaining two. So they are pretty much on par with the biodynamic, with a much, much better sound quality or sound reproduction, really. And this brings us to the final two. And on spot number 2, I have ranked the Olo Audio. Now, with all the negatives that I've said about those headphones, I do think that the depth information that you perceive with these headphones is really outstanding. So they are actually kind of quite good for binaural monitoring or for working with spatial audio. If you get essentially kind of, if they fit your head, that's really the main thing that needs to happen. Otherwise, they are actually quite fine. And on the top spot, I have the Sennheiser. So for me personally, and this was actually a little bit as a surprise, these have the best quality when it comes to binaural and 3D audio. So as I said before, these are most likely going to become my new favorite pair of headphones that I'm probably going to use every day. They are really lightweight. You don't kind of even notice that you have them on your head. The sound quality is good. The bass response is outstanding. And the imaging in terms of depth information is good as well. So what else do you need? So let's finally have a look at the two Mixroom plugins, the one that comes with the Steven Slate VSX system and the other one, the DearVR Mix Sennheiser edition that comes with the Sennheiser HD490 Pro headphones. Now, if we start with the DearVR Mix plugin, this is a plugin that is essentially a scaled down version of the DearVR Mix plugin that you can purchase separately. And the actual DearVR Mix plugin has a lot of different headphones that you can choose from. And the one that you get with the Sennheiser headphones is essentially a plugin version that only allows you to select one of the Sennheiser headphones. So this does not only work for the 490s, it actually works for all of the Sennheiser headphones, and it also works for the Neumann headphones. Now, you have a couple of mix rooms that you can select from, and you can choose between mono monitoring and stereo monitoring, and you can choose between stereo and stereo wide. Now, in listening to the results of this plugin, I was honestly a little bit disappointed. The quality of the reproduction isn't particularly good. I also had a bit of an issue in terms of the fact that the plugin would actually create an unbalanced sound. So I suddenly had kind of more gain on the left channel than on the right channel. I'm not quite sure why it is. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it has something to do with my hearing, because if you've watched my previous videos, you know that my hearing is not entirely perfect. But I did not get a really good kind of simulation result out of that plugin. It was, quite frankly, a little bit disappointing. Now, in contrast to that, the Steven Slate plugin is a plugin that is specifically specifically designed for the headphones. So you actually have to select which batch of the headphones you own, and you put that into the plugin in order to get the perfect representation. And what the VSX system is capable of, and I've already alluded to that previously, is that it does an outstanding job in reproducing the experience that you get in a mix room. If you switch to a midfield or near field monitoring, you suddenly get the impression that everything is in front of you. And this is really, really impressive. So it does an excellent job in kind of simulating a mix room. And best of all, you have a lot of different options that you can choose from. So there are many different kind of studios that you can select, and you can choose the studio that works best for you. So this is really significantly better. So when it comes to the mix room plugins just by themselves and the way the headphones interact with those mix room plugins, there isn't even a comparison. These are in completely different leagues. The VSX system is just miles ahead of anybody else. And even though you have this DearVR Mix plugin, which is a nice addition, it doesn't do a nearly as good job as the Steven Slate VSX plugin. So what's my final recommendation? Well, first of all, if you are looking for a virtual studio simulation and you're wondering if the Sennheiser HD490 Pros can be a valid replacement or a valid alternative for the Steven Slate VSX system, I have to say very, very clearly, no, they can't. Steven Slate VSX is still second to none in that respect. There's no other Mixroom plugin that comes even close in terms of virtual studio simulation. However, the Sennheiser are the better headphones. So if you're interested in headphones that are really, really good in reproducing spatial sound, binaural sound, that I can definitely recommend the Sennheiser HD490 Pros. Now, in terms of travel, it depends, quite frankly, a little bit. The Sennheisers obviously are open back, and the Steven Slates are closed back. I'm honestly not yet completely sure which pair of headphones that I'm going to travel with. The ones that are really good in kind of simulating a studio environment, or the ones that are really, really good in pre-producing binaural audio. There's also obviously to consider that open back headphones might not be your perfect travel companion because they leak sound. That's what they do. They are open back. So we will see. I'm not yet sure. I might actually kind of use the Sennheisers as my new travel headphones. We will see. But this is really everything I wanted to say today. Let me know what your thoughts are. What headphones do you like? What are your favorite headphones? Do you own the Sennheiser HD490? Do you own any of the other headphones that I've shown here? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Use the comment section below or join our Discord community and start a discussion there. And with that being said, see you at the next video.